There are times when I just want to run outside, disappear into the woods, and not come back. It's as though the trees are calling me, whispering my name. They know it's exactly what I need. Stillness. A place where I can shut everything off, make the world stop, even if it's just for a moment. Life gets busy and can feel hard. There's always something to do, someone who needs me, news about what's going on in the world, the constant online buzz that feels increasingly like hypnotic white noise. It can feel overwhelming, especially when I get caught in the spiral of it all, when things pile up and my mind begins to race. It's times like this when the trees begin to call out for me, reminding me that even in the strongest of wind, when I get swayed and jostled, when life throws everything at me, if I take those moments to ground myself, take deep breaths, and connect with the organic life around me, that I will always remain standing. Nothing will keep me down. The past couple of weeks have been busy. A new friend stopped by to bring me new bamboo plants for my pasture. He also gave me gooseberry plants and blackcap raspberries. I've done some research on bamboo before considering them for my homestead, because they can be quite invasive and spread like crazy. Many people don't quite realize that there is a species of bamboo that is native to the United States, also known as giant river cane. It grew in Florida and spread as far north as New York, and was a habitat for many birds and insects, and even prevented soil erosion. River cane has been and still is an important natural resource for the Cherokee people. For centuries, Native Americans used it as medicine, food, weapons, building homes, tools, and baskets for carrying water. Much of the natural river cane habitat was destroyed over the years as settlers moved throughout the country. It can take 30 to 40 years for this plant to mature, so I can't wait to give it a place to thrive here, near our creek. My new friend is a botanist and a certified permaculturist, so I couldn't wait to give him a tour of my garden and land. He noticed the number of weeds that were beginning to take over my garden. When I first moved onto this land 3 years ago, I got right to work building the foundation for my garden using a no-dig method. I laid down builder's paper and then put a thick layer of mulch on top. What that would do over time is break down into the earth beneath it, full of life such as fungi and microbes, creating rich soil for the plants. However, as the wood chips began to break down, the weeds started to push their way through. Ideally, I should reapply fresh layers of mulch at least every couple years to reduce this from happening. Early this spring, I tried to get another load of wood chips, but none of the local arborists were providing them. So I let it go, got on my hands and knees, and started to pull weeds one by one. While the garden was in good shape at the beginning of the season, midway through, the weeds came back with a vengeance, spreading like wildfire. I knew it was something I would have to address. My new friend suggested pulling the poison ivy by the root and then using a torch on the weeds, eventually topping everything off again with fresh wood chips. So that is my plan and what I have set out to do. I've been harvesting food from my garden, fresh veggies, herbs, and greens, planting new seeds and finding new ways to preserve food. The chokeberry plant I put in my garden 2 years ago started to produce fruit. I was so excited to finally be able to harvest these amazing berries. Chokeberries, also known as aronia berries, are considered to be a superfruit because they're loaded with vitamins and antioxidants. They're also high in fiber, improves heart health, and even reduces the risk of certain cancers. They can be quite tart, but become sweeter the riper they become. I decided to make a simple syrup with the berries using raw local honey.
Dias de chão, dias de terra, arranhando a emoção. Passos em vão, eu quero a canção. Que me desperte da tal ilusão. Meu coração aqui do sul mandou dizer que faz frio. No meu som nada restou. Dias a sós e passará o fevereiro por nós. Neste tambor não vou sambar neste carnaval. Você me deixou meio sem sal, sem poemas, deixou meu samba enredo sem tom, meu carro sem cor, e a avenida vazia, e a avenida vazia, e a avenida vazia, e a avenida vazia. Dias de chão, dias de terra, arranhando a emoção.
Early this summer, we had weeks and weeks of no rain, followed by weeks of consistent downpours. As soon as we got hit with all the rain, it quickly created mucky, humid conditions that were not only hard on the plants, but also hard on the goats. The wet conditions made it ripe for mites. So one of my goats was hit hard. The poor guy has had a weak immune system since we first got him last year, and so it makes him an easy target for mites. One of my other goats was showing early signs of mite damage, so I knew I had to do something quick. Luckily, I discovered it when trimming their hooves, so I was able to begin treatment right away, which involved giving them each their first injection ever, and then using a natural ointment to help heal the skin. I clean the goat shed once a week to make sure that they have fresh, dry bedding, and sprinkle diatomaceous earth to keep the mites and other insects under control. Since we got the goats late last summer, I had been giving them their minerals in the form of kelp and supplementing with other natural herbal blends. But because goats are intuitive, they know exactly what kind of minerals their body needs and which ones they don't need. For example, when I was treating 2 of the goats for mites, I was offering them all extra zinc. The 2 goats that were being treated could not get enough of it, and kept wanting more, while the other two took a little but knew when to stop. So I came across a new method for the goats to get their minerals from a small business called Little Avalon Farm. Their system provides the goat with each individual mineral that goats need to be healthy in a buffet style, giving the goats more freedom to choose which minerals they need at any given time to keep themselves in balance. This system felt right to me, more natural, so I decided to give it a try. So far, the goats are loving their new mineral bar. It's taken me more time to adjust, however, requiring more of my time to keep the containers clean and keep track of which ones need to be refilled. I'll have to watch to make sure that the shed is the right spot for it or come up with another solution. So the new mineral bar has been working okay. I'm just noticing that I'm constantly cleaning out, having it in their shed. I'm having to constantly clean out the bins because sometimes some of their droppings end up in here. But honestly, I kind of feel like even if I had this outside of the shed, that it would still have a similar issue. So I'm still giving it a chance and trying to see if it'll work. But so far, they are definitely eating some of the minerals. And so I've been able to see which ones that they've been going through a little bit more quickly, like the copper. They were in need of their next copper intake anyway. And so I already knew that. And so this was a good way for me to kind of test this out and see, and in fact, I knew that they would definitely go for the copper, and they did. So I'm already now completely out of it, and I have to order more. And then they also have some other ones that they've been going through a lot more than some of the others. The one thing I did notice is that I'm probably going to have to move this bin to the back on this side, because I hoped that I would be able to just get away with having it on the door, but the rain, every time we've gotten hit with some heavy rain, it has just been drowning out the minerals in these bins. So I need to move this. But other than that, everything is going pretty well with the new mineral bar. They had other DIY methods listed on their website for building a mineral bar. But given the fact that I live in an area that gets a lot of rain year-round, I wanted to make sure the minerals would stay dry, even in the harshest of weather. The minerals are not cheap, so protecting them was definitely a priority for me. If you want to learn more about the mineral bar, visit Little Avalon Farm at the link in my description below. If you want to try it out for your goats, you can use code NAKED10 at checkout for your first mineral kit. They'll also tell you everything else you need to get started. As the summer begins to heat up, I'm trying to stay cool and work in the garden early in the morning. The intensity of summer is a reminder to slow down, to conserve energy instead of burn it. It can be really hard for me to do because summer can feel quite busy. There's always something going on, whether it's family time, events, vacations, new projects, tending the garden, or problems that come up that need my attention. I can easily find myself in a state of burnout if I don't watch how I'm spending my time. It's the fire energy of summer and the increase of light upon the earth that makes us want to be out, productive, and firing on all cylinders. But when I begin to feel overwhelmed, that's usually my sign that I've taken on too much and need to scale it back. So I'm outsourcing the work when I can and learning how to work smarter, cutting back on the amount of projects I have going on, tabling some of my ideas for a later time, and creating more time for rest. Something that our culture doesn't seem to value or hold in high regard. Rest is so important, not only for our bodies, but for our minds and emotional well-being. We need time to recharge, to give ourselves space to feel, to simply be. Clear our heads, unload the heavy weight of the world. Because when we do, we come back stronger, more focused, and more grounded, so that, much like the trees, we are less impacted when the next storm rolls in.